I guess TikTok has a yeah. TikTok has a time limit. That's strange. TikTok? I mean, no, it's Instagram. I guess they have a time limit. So that's why the last live ended. I hope everybody who was on the previous live joins. Hi, Coco. Yes, Jude. Welcome back. Sorry about that. I guess TikTok has a time limit. So I don't know what's going on with that. Let me try to get my mom back in here. But just to recap, we are talking about The Artist's Way and me and my mom's 1 year journey doing the 12-week course and talking about morning pages and a year of doing daily morning pages and also exercises from the book. So just waiting for Miss Kelly Smiles 24/7 to get back in here. Says she's unable to join, so you should just request, Mom, if you can. I'll keep on inviting you, but last time you requested to get in. So if you request, there you go. Nice.
Yes,
Yeah, so an
nice.
hour I think is yeah, so we've officially done 1 hour. Just crazy. That went
That went
fast.
very, very fast. Yeah, I thought it would be an hour, but I didn't know it would
I,
move so quickly and go so
I didn't know
fast.
so either. That's like crazy.
But thank you for everybody who came back. Thanks, hey
You're
Jazz,
right. Hi, Jasmine. Thank you so much.
for coming back. Yeah, so we were
Mhm.
just recapping, like, and we got cut off, and I was talking about how Khadijah was talking about healing her inner child, and I was talking about how, I mean, and of course healing my inner child as well. But I was really, really, really just yeah, uh mad at myself and just really had no trust whatsoever. Didn't trust a goddamn thing that I thought, that I did, that I said. I like keeping my word to myself was really, really bad. I can keep my word to other people,
Right.
but to myself, yeah, yeah, and going through this process for this year and writing in the pages has, like I said, has really tuned all of that shit. So many shifts, so many different adjustments. And went to Beyonce's concert, the Renaissance
Yes.
concert,
Renaissance.
which was a which was a holy spiritual endeavor for me, because that bitch said that she heals herself through music and then is able to heal us through the music, and she ain't never fucking lied. When you start to heal yourself, then the things that you create and the things that you put out help somebody else,
Yes.
like, for real.
So when
Like,
you
so
deny yourself, you're denying that other person. And Tanya, even I saw Tanya, I wanted to address this, but I didn't want to cut you off or anything like that. Tanya wrote in the comments on our last live, like, I so needed this.
right.
And me and you were like, oh, let's go on live and stuff like that. And we have all this momentum behind the idea. And then it starts to come up, and I get sick. We have a bit of a delay. We have to push back the date. Days before, we start getting nervous. We start getting like, oh shit, we're really going on live. We're really inviting all these people. What's it going to be? And if we were to just deny ourselves and be like, well, let's not do it, or like, or just even deny it from the beginning and be like, okay, let's just make a video together. Let's not go on live. Let's not push ourselves out of our comfort zone. We would deny somebody else.
Very much so. Yeah.
So yeah,
I'm
yeah.
always grateful for those people who share and who contributed and who pushed forward anyway, because I mean, like, all of my favorite shit, like, I say this all the time. J.K. Rowling sent Harry Potter to so many fucking people. I fucking love me some Harry Potter. And if that bitch had been like, oh my God, 7 people told me no, 13 people told me no, oh my gosh, I'm not going to send it out anymore. Like,
Yeah,
I wouldn't have Harry
you
Potter in
wouldn't
my
have
life.
Harry Potter.
I'm a fucking Trekkie. And you know the story about Star Trek and Gene Roddenberry, and like, what if he had not? done it and continued on and been like, you know what, y'all talked about this shit so bad, I'm gonna wrap it all up here and put it away in this dark corner. Wait, what? So getting over our fucking selves and actually sharing and contributing to fucking people. So we gotta give, we gotta put it out there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I think it's safe to move on to the next question. Hi, you, Dana. You, Dana
Thank you for
Banana.
coming
Thank you so
back.
much for coming. Um, do you stick hard to the rules of the process or do you stay loose? Like, for instance, earlier I was talking about doing the morning pages and talks about how Julia recommends doing daily journaling immediately after you wake up. Some people in my artist process group are like, oh, I do morning pages in the afternoon. Sometimes we do night pages. So some people expand the rules. So do you find yourself wanting to cling hard to the rules of the process Julia has established, or do you find yourself making it your own and staying loose with everything? And why?
Well, you know, sometimes I like it hard. Most times I like it hard, but sometimes I like it soft. No, but no. I'm like a little bit of flex. Like I wake up and the first thing is to meditate, to go into my morning routine in my practice, which is, you know, meditation in the pages. So either the meditation will come first and then the pages, or the pages and then the meditation. And like I said, the past couple of days a bitch been on a roll. So it's been meditation, pages, meditation. And I want that to be the first thing in the morning because this is how I'm starting my day. This is how my day is going to play out. So, and I do, you know, and you know me, I'll do night pages as well. Because like at the end of the day, sometimes I don't want to sleep with that shit, like, you know, throughout the day. So I'll do a dump, at night and then set a sleep intention, which, oh my God, we're talking about sleep intentions, which also came out of this process, setting a sleep intention. So by the, when I wake up in the morning, like I'm fucking ready to go. You know, I might fail throughout the day, but I wake up roaring and ready. So I'm pretty uh steady and in the middle with the rules. I do the 3 pages. I noticed when you were here, when we were in the same space, and I noticed your pages, I was like, damn, she don't skip no lines on her pages. Am I really doing 3 pages? And then, you know, it changes. Like if I'm doing a book that's like this versus a book that's like this, then the 3 pages aren't the same, and you know, and so on and so forth. And I'm not sticking so much to the rules where it limits me or puts me in the box. But I do the pages first thing in the morning, and I do 3 pages. And if I see that there's a lot of space, if I'm skipping and whatever, then I'm gonna make it so that I'm doing another page after that, so that I can get the full benefit of it. And I really like to do my pages till I'm complete, but you know, I got 2 little grandbabies, and that don't always happen. So and okay, so let's talk about this artist date though, because the artist date, the rules, you know, pretty much every week, something that you enjoy, that you love, and like an hour, 2 hours.
Yes.
Um, and I know I had one date and I did it for like less than an hour, but pretty much sticking to the rules where it's just me. It's just me on this date because I know that this is part of a healing process. This is a process. And my ability to get the date done and my inability to get the date done says so much. So, but yeah, I'm sticking to the rules for the most part. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice. I'm kind of the same way. I like to stick to the rules. Some things I do bend. Like I think I read somewhere that Julia recommended that you don't do artist dates inside, meaning don't do them from your house every week. You have to actually go
Mhm.
outside and walk, or go outside and go to a store, or go outside and do something else. Um, but a lot of times I'm in the house. Like that's just the nature of like what I do. So it's not always accessible for me to go outside. So I break that rule and I do a lot of artist dates from the house, but I do try to incorporate going outside, because I know that can increase synchronicity sometimes, is actually stepping outside of your comfort zone to enter a different environment or space. Um, I'm sorry, excuse me for one second. My cat is on the table. Come here, baby.
Kizzy, my little kizzy
Come here,
cat.
baby.
My little
Come here. Shake
kizzy
it,
cat.
baby. Come
Yeah, Kizzy wants to be in on the live too.
here. Okay. So, yeah, I do kind of break the rules sometimes, but honestly, with morning pages, I like to stick really hard to the established rules that Julia has said, which is doing it right away, immediately, doing 3 pages. The only time I didn't do 3 pages was when I was really sick, like a week ago, when I was like, I'm only gonna do 1 page. I'm gonna still come to the pages. When I was sick, I still went to the pages, but I'm like, I'm only going to do 1 page. And that's the grace I'm going to give myself because I'm physically in pain and compromised. So I'm only going to do 1 page. But for the most part, I like to follow the rules, but I think that's the type of person I am, is that I just kind of like to stay like within the rules of things. So that's just personally how I operate with this. But I know a lot of people change the process to fit themselves. And I think nothing is necessarily wrong with that. Because it's mostly about the growth, right? The creative growth. It's about your spiritual practice. It's about your faith and what you personally believe in, and it's about your artistic process and your inner child. And your inner child might need something else than what Julia is exactly recommending. So I like that people refer to it more as a tool than as like a Bible or something like that, or a guideline. Like, it's just more of a tool that you can use in your creative or your spiritual process. So, all right, I think we're ready to move on to the next question. We only have a few left here. What's your favorite term from the artist way that you've picked up and you use now regularly?
So pages, artist date, which is just, taking that time and making myself a priority. I had thought of something else, but I forgot. But what I also like, and I don't use it all the time, but I had to come to the crazy makers when she mentioned
Crazy makers is
when
such a
she
good one.
mentioned fucking crazy makers, and crazy makers are people who come into your life, who are in your life, somebody you love,
Mm-hmm.
somebody you completely love, but
Mm-hmm.
it's shit gets hectic because they are there, and they're crazy makers because internally we get crazy and wonky and not on our own shit because of appeasing them or even just engaging with them, because some people, they come in and they take a lot of energy, they take a lot of your energy, and we need to always have that energy for ourselves and not always giving it away to other people and stuff like that. And people I love dearly, or some people I love dearly, are crazy makers, because the energy is just, it's the anxious energy. It's just my mama was one of the
Yeah,
crazy
Margaret.
makers.
Margaret was a
Margaret
crazy
was one of the
maker.
crazy
She
makers.
was a crazy maker because it's like, I'm gonna throw a wrench in your schedule. Like, and her favorite. I'm gonna give an example of a crazy maker and some of the things they might do. To me, her favorite thing was to want to stop you right when you're about to leave and go out the door. You're fully dressed. You got whatever you got going on. It's stop. Let me see you. Let me see what you wearing, what you doing, it's like immediately just like, I'm gonna come and kind of just take up all your attention and your energy, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't want to say there's anything wrong with the way like our grandma would show us attention, because I liked that. I did like that she would say, stop, let me get to look at you. There's beautiful things to that moment in that aspect, right? But it's a continuous shift of attention and focus from the thing you're trying to do or the process you're trying to initiate to this person. You know what I mean? And so crazy makers is definitely a term that I use. Is crazy makers the only one for you?
Well, no, I I said pages because I
Oh,
don't use the
pages.
term
Mhm.
journaling anymore. I use the term pages because I don't know, the pages resonates a little bit more with me than journaling. So, I'm doing my pages because I am a creator, I'm a writer, and I'm creating pages and um yeah, so that's a term that really sticks with me. Because I say that almost every day. I tell the baby, I tell the grandbaby, y'all has to finish her pages.
Yeah, gotta finish my pages, gotta do my pages. Yeah, I like that shorthand. For me, I really like shadow artists, and I brought that up earlier in our previous live. But a shadow artist is someone who is an artist themselves, but who, for whatever reason, does not accept the title of artist. And usually, a shadow artist is found underneath an actual artist or an artist, not an actual artist, because shadow artists are artists too, but is found underneath someone who identifies as an artist. So shadow artists are often like the number one fan of like the artist in their lives and pour all this support and all this energy into supporting the artists in their lives and seeing and recognizing their artistry, but not recognizing their own internal artistry and
Oh,
denying that for whatever reason.
so that would have been me.
Yes, that's why when you said, "Oh, Khadijah, you're like the true artist," I'm not really an artist like that. I literally crossed my arms and looked at you like this because it's like I got my artistic talent from you and from my dad. You know what I mean? Like, and my dad identifies as an artist, I think, a lot more than you do, like
Oh yeah.
especially with him making beats and with his like graffiti and with his illustrations and even some of his mural work. Like my dad identifies as that. But with you, it's always like I see your creativity even through your beautiful handwriting, like even that alone. I see your creativity through the projects you've done over the years with us scrapbooking and all this kind of stuff. So I see all your creative talent. And I also see you kind of denying that, like, oh, yeah, I'm not an artist. You know what I mean? My daughter's an artist. So it's like this barrier of identity for whatever reason. So I try to encourage the shadow artists around me because I feel like there's a lot. I think my sister is one. She's
She's definitely
incredibly
one.
incredibly talented. She can hold a note. She can write raps, write poetry. She can draw and illustrate. I think she's a great illustrator. And if she would have gone into training like me, she could have been an illustrator. She does her own nails. She could be a nail tech if she wanted, just nail art. Like, just it also with fashion. Like, if she learned how to use a sewing machine, she would be a killer fashion designer. You know, I can list all these things. And to me, my sister is an artist, but to her, she probably wouldn't identify as that.
Yeah.
Which I think is really sad because I think it's a lot of people who've just denied themselves in general. Even if you look outside of the artistic sphere, it's just a lot of people who deny themselves doing what they want to do just because they're constantly comparing and feeling like I don't align or I don't measure up to that person. So it's not for me. And I think sometimes with art, we assign a mystical label to it. Like that person's an artist and they were born an artist and I don't have that. You know what I mean? I'm not like that. I wasn't born to do it. Like there's no such thing as really being born to be an artist. Like it's to me more so of an identification that you take on yourself. Like you can say that someone was born with an inherent talent. Like you could say someone like Michael Jordan was born to be an athlete, you know, like which kind of makes sense because of the physical aspect of like playing sports and things like that. But anything could have happened in his life to derail him from that path, you know, like and I'm not familiar with Jordan's origin story, but for me, I just feel like shadow artist is a really useful term because I see it so much. So I like shadow artists. Also, freebies. Freebies is one of my favorite, just because Julia talks about freebies in the artist way as basically like when you're aligned and doing your thing, there are going to be freebies that come your way. And freebies are things you get that are worth some sort of value, either monetary or otherwise,
And you weren't
that you can use in your
expecting them. And
what
you
you say?
weren't expecting them.
And you weren't expecting them. They're surprised, they're spontaneous. So, an example of a freebie is me getting a $50 Joann's card for my birthday. and me wanting to do sewing and start sewing. And another freebie was me inheriting my grandma's sewing machine, which was pretty much brand new. And the sewing machine itself was in my Amazon wish list for like a whole year. It was in my Amazon wish list in 2022. And I didn't even know that my grandma had the exact same machine. And I ended up inheriting it. That was a freebie. I didn't have to pay $300 for this machine. And I didn't have to pay the money that it cost to get the sewing supplies to get started either. These are signs that what you're doing is what you should be doing. You're aligned, in God or the universe or whatever you want to call it is supporting you on your path. So it's another form of measurement, which we were talking about earlier, measuring your growth,
Yeah.
measuring your process. So freebies are a point of measurement of like, yeah, I got this, I got that, and then I got this. And I also got a free sewing class. And you just see how these things come into your life. And it helps so much with gratitude and being grateful in the moment and in the present of like, I get all these things for free. I can complain about being broke all day, but I'm getting gifts.
Yes.
I'm being blessed,
Blessed.
literally. So freebie is a term I use, like, ooh, freebie. And I love that just because it feels so good to acknowledge it. Yeah, I think that's it for the terms for me. Crazy Maker is another good one. But yeah, those are probably the terms because I can't think of another one. So I'm going to move on to the other question. What aspect did you find the most difficult about the Artist Way
That
process?
fucking artist date. Making time every week, just you, just me, by myself, nobody else, for an hour. I watch myself get distracted. I watch myself say yes to other people when I know clearly I got a fucking artist date. And then how does that fucking show up in my life? All the time. All the time. All the time. We have done like I forget, like I guess we started in December, so now we're almost in January, but like so we're at like 56 weeks of doing this shit. 56 weeks. So I should have had 56 artist dates. If I've had 12, then um it's like whoa, because that has just been the really hardest thing of all. And recently I had 4 in a row, and I was like, oh shit, things are changing. Things are
Yes,
changing. Hey,
yes. I'm getting
hey,
into
I'm
the
making
groove
this
of it,
happen. Like,
finally.
because it's not about having money. You talked about somebody was saying, oh, you have to have your artist dates outside. No, the fuck you don't, because like I have date. If I was having a date with someone, it would be inside sometimes, as opposed to just going out somewhere. So the ability to create that space and make that time for myself and make myself so important that I'm going to tell somebody else no, like, and like treat it like an actual fucking date, like, and prepare for it. That has been the hardest challenge. And I know sometimes people find the pages hard. The pages have been easy peasy lemon squeezy for me. But the date, ooh, child. Chale, chale, chale. Having that time, taking the time for myself has been the most difficult thing. And it just shows up, and it's showing me how clearly I don't make myself a priority in so many other aspects and in so many other ways. So whenever I do the date and I get it happen, I feel so accomplished, because I know that I'm making shifts and I'm adjusting and I'm growing and I'm developing and I'm expanding and evolving in that particular area with myself.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. Artist dates for me is probably the most difficult and challenging part of the process. Writing and journaling every day for 40 minutes to an hour is easy, is a cakewalk for me. I haven't missed a single day. So since December 5th, 2022, I've been journaling every single day, every single morning. have not missed a single day. And I hear people in my process group really struggling. Like, yeah, I'm struggling with the artist cases. I only did 2 out of 7, and 2 out of 7 is good for me because the other week I didn't do any. So some people struggle with different aspects of the course. For me, the morning pages is the easiest part. And for me, the artist day is the most difficult part because even though I love being alone, like for people who are into astrology, I'm a 12th houser over here. So I like being in isolation. I feel the most emotionally comfortable when I could just talk to myself like I'm loco out of my mind when I'm by myself in the house and dance and sing by myself and all that kind of stuff. But when it comes to taking time out to do something that I say I love to do, that's personal, that's not motivated by money, that's not motivated by, oh, it's a commission and I have to do it, or that's not motivated by some sort of obligation, some sort of practical obligation, it's very difficult for me to find the time to do it for myself. I feel like I guess maybe subconsciously I'm not worthy, or I shouldn't be taking time to do things that are just fun, just good plain old fun. Um because I guess I haven't accomplished enough, or whatever it is in my head that's telling me that I shouldn't be doing this creates a lot of resistance for me to just take an hour to myself to like do karaoke in my house, or to take an hour to just like watch a show I really like, or animated series I really like, or to just take a moment to make a personal painting, not a painting I intend to post or to sell or to do anything like that, not anything for a commission, just time for me. I don't know why I struggle with that, but definitely the artist dates are the most difficult part of the process. And I feel like when there's a lot of resistance, it's pointing towards something you probably need to do for yourself,
Yes, definitely.
especially if it's something like aligned, you know? Like if you're saying, oh, I want to do music, but you have a lot of resistance towards pulling up a beat or starting songwriting or sharing the finished product, like it's probably pointing towards some sort of misbelief you have inside of yourself.
I don't think probably is the word. I think that it's, yeah, more than, yeah, probably is a good word, but
Yeah.
yeah. That's exactly what's happening. Exactly what's happening when that fear and that resistance comes in, especially if you say that it's something that you
You want
desire.
to do. If it's something that you love, like I think about it when I was a kid. I loved to draw and I loved comics and I loved manga. There was no way you were going to get me to go without a day without doing some sort of like makeshift comic or doodling manga eyes or learning hiragana or katakana or whatever, and like writing little symbols on my homework. Like you couldn't stop me. Like if I didn't have any paper, I would find paper. If I didn't have the tools, I would get it. Nothing would stop me from doing what I feel in my soul that I love and that resonates with me. So why is it that when we get older and we become adults, it's all these excuses and reasons and resistance, and it's like we validate that resistance, and say, yeah, I just don't have the time. Like art burnout absolutely is real, and I had to discover that too. And that was a thing that this process helped me figure out. And thank you for mentioning that, Amani, because this process and journaling showed me that a lot of my art burnout occurred when I was in school, and kind of the rigorous left-brained approach to art and making the goal Pixar or Disney or Nickelodeon, and not finding out what was aligned with us and our personal expression as artists, because we're all different and not every single artist's path is going to be straight to Pixar doing storyboarding or doing visual development. Some of us are going to join skateboard companies and make alternative art for, or do posters for rock bands and grunge bands in our neighborhood. And so that looks completely different than someone who's trying to make a portfolio to appeal to a commercial giant. Like, so yeah, this process definitely helped me recognize what's true burnout for me, what's true resistance, when I need to rest from the results of that burnout specifically, and when I need to take action. So yeah, the artist dates are definitely the most difficult thing, but I'm glad I recognize it's difficult for me so I could continuously, week after week, keep on trying to take time out for myself, to do music, to do art, and to do the things I love because it makes my art better. Like this shirt behind me, like, is the result of an artist date. I was like, I want to go to a
So
thrift
dope.
store and
So dope.
draw on a piece of fabric or shirt. At first, it was just going to be a t-shirt. And I was like, whatever piece of fabric it is, I want to really like the piece of fabric. And I found this shirt and I just loved this. This is like made in Egypt, which is so interesting to me. So it's Egyptian polyester. And I completed it because of an artist date. Like, and I never would have been able to make this on my own. I never would have done it. And even while I was doing it, I felt the resistance. Like, I think this one was the first eye I did. And then I did this one, and I was like, I only have these two. What if I fuck up the shirt? What if I don't do the other eyes right? And I was thinking this eye was so amazing. I was like, this eye is so perfect. How else am I going to make the other eyes just as perfect? And then I started doing it, and I'm like, no, this eye is the better one. Like the whole process just was amazing to like look into my mindset when creating art, and my mindset on taking time out to do personal art. So yeah, I agree with you with the artist date. If you don't have anything else to say, I'm going to move on to the last three questions.
Before we move on, for everybody who's still on here and anybody who else watches this, we have to allow ourselves um time for ourselves, just us, no one else, to really get familiar with ourselves and to enjoy being with ourselves and to have some fun and some play. That shit is so mandatory. It is so necessary, because this fucking life can be fucking hard and hellish. And so we have to really, really take the time. Every time I do an artist day, I fucking love it. And like, why was it
Why?
so hard? Why was it so hard? And then the next
Yes,
week comes, it's like, oh. But like actually scheduling some shit for myself. Oh, somebody can call me. They're like, can you do this tomorrow? Yeah, sure. So I need to be that giving and that loving, and that generous with myself.
absolutely. A word and a half.
Oh,
Okay.
and by the way, you are so
Oh,
beautiful.
thank you, mommy.
God
Thank
bless
you. So
you.
are you. And your lighting looks so good. I love like the sun setting and the open window. Whatever ring light you got, I'm loving it because your skin is glowing. It's like, yes, I'm like, this one has this green tint. Maybe it's the kitchen light over there reflecting. I
It's
don't know,
like
but I just don't like it.
fine.
I'm actually probably about to switch the light in a second. But I want to ask you this. How have you seen yourself grow? And I'm going to switch the lights, but I'm listening and I can hear you. And feel free to continue to talk. But how have you seen yourself grow through completing this process and continuing the morning pages in the artist dates?
Okay, so we kind of talked about this the other day, and like my growth has been like going from basic math to motherfucking calculus and geometry. Yeah, and you know, I always use this metaphor about like having conscious conversations with people, and sometimes it's like talking to kindergartners when I'm working on my master's thesis. I feel like that. Like that's how my growth has been, like watching myself go from a kindergartner in some areas to working on my fucking master's. Um from doing basic math to doing algebraic equations and formulas and all of that. I just really feel like I've expanded and grown because again my mom's death came and hit me, and I was able to process that in a much different way. Like I've been able to process shit that's been hitting me hard, like and fit and literally people hitting me and choosing to respond and not just react. And you know, I was kind of always on that path, but I've watched it grow, I've watched it develop, I've watched it expand. I'm watching myself evolve through this whole process. My awareness of self um is also like really, really expanding. Everything has layers to it. So I've
Yes.
explored all of these things on all of these different layers, but like it's expanding. You know, we talked about our relationship. You know, it would have really been difficult for me to explain how our relationship could have gotten better, but it has. Oh my gosh, it has gotten so much better throughout this process. So I don't know if I'm being clear about how I've grown, but everything has just been taken to damn near like tens, and we're not even gonna talk about the fact that throughout this process, how one way I've grown is my spiritual practice has gotten like really fucking good. 3 hours and 12 minutes. That's the goal every day, to be introspective, to be getting familiar with my highest self and my
Through
highest.
meditation specifically. I just want to mention that because you didn't say that.
Well, it's not just through meditation specifically, because it's also through imagining.
Mm-hmm.
It's also through just being, like exploring what it means to be, exploring what that I am process looks like. So, like if I say I am creating, you know, that used to not resonate with me. Now that shit resonates real strongly
Right.
with me. I am creating. I'm creating all of these different things. Um, so it's not just through meditation, but it is really becoming familiar with my highest self, my highest potential, tuning, tapping, turning in, turning within and turning on like my supernatural fucking abilities. Like I used to be reticent and not want to tell people that that's what I was up to. Like, what do you want to do? What do you want to be? What you trying to do? I'm trying to be supernatural around this bitch. Now I can say that. Yes, no, I'm truly am. Because if I can spend, because I start, you know, through my pages, I read it. You know, I even recently, you know, I watched the Squid Games, the reality series. You know, I watched Echo. You know, I watch Loki. I watch all binge all these series, even if I no longer do it in a day or 2 days. I'm giving 6 hours to these stories, and stories are great and they're inspiring and everything like that. Am I giving 6 hours to my own personal growth and development?
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and especially if I say that that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
So so I like, yeah, my attention, my awareness, my expansion is just on a whole, like Cat Williams said, whole nother plane, a whole nother dimension. You know, we on some multi-dimensional shit here, especially again, especially with you and with our relationship, this accountability thing, being able to see my child, someone who I birthed into this world, and for that dynamic to continuously evolve and shift. Where you are, you know, where sometimes you are the student and I'm the teacher, and
Yeah.
sometimes you are the teacher and I'm the fucking
Yeah.
student, and I'm like, whoa, you know, and again, to just be conscious of the mirrors that we are for one another,
Mm-hmm.
and what this mother-daughter relationship feels like and looks like, and what it can continue to grow into. So yeah.
Nice. Thank you for sharing that. I'm going to echo all that in a second when we ask about each other, but I'm going to answer how have I seen myself grow?
Oh, I'm sorry. Before you start, bitch, I actually completed some fucking projects because of this. So that's how I've seen myself grow. And again, from the time that I have an idea to the time that idea is executed, keeps shrinking and shrinking and shrinking and shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. So yes. Okay. Sorry.
Nice. Absolutely.
You're so gracious. Thank you.
Um, and I've seen that with you too, but I'll echo that later. How have I seen myself grow throughout this process? Definitely. Okay, so I was watching Abraham Hicks the other day. Well, not the other day. I watch Abraham Hicks occasionally, and So when I was watching an Abraham Hicks video, she said that a lot of the emotional ups and downs that we face and that we feel can be looked at as like a trampoline. Like, in order to go high and to go up on the trampoline, you have to sink down. Like, if you don't sink down or come down, it's not going to have the fun and the exhilaration of jumping on a trampoline. And that completely kind of blew my mind because as a person who, I call myself Eeyore, like as a person who can get into these melancholy moods and feel dragged down by all the sadness and all the lowness of it all, and just get caught up and just like the world's never going to be fair. I'm never going to be recognized. I'm always going to be a weirdo. I'm always going to be this. Emotionally identifying like with those thoughts has definitely changed since doing the artist way, because I've laid out things in the page and a week later I'm like, dang, I do not feel that way at all now. So
Right.
knowing that emotions and thoughts are things that can pass through you and you can feel them, it's not wrong to feel affected by however your emotions are taking you in the day, but to not personally identify with them, and to be in a low point and not to beat yourself up by being in the low point, to accept you're in a low point, but to not identify with it really is kind of like a meditative practice. Hearing the thoughts and not engaging with them,
Yep.
just watching them like cars on a freeway zooming
Yep.
by, and not personally attaching yourself to the car, not being the dog that chases the car, but just watching it drift by, or just being on the trampoline and knowing, yep, I'm real low on the trampoline right now. My feet are touching the ground on this trampoline. But also knowing that, like, okay, my feet are touching the ground, the net is stretched all the way down. How high am I going to go? What high is going to result from being this low? And that can bring out excitement in a time where there's hopelessness. And just a little glimpse of, a little glimmer of excitement is sometimes all you need in a period of hopelessness. So that's definitely how I've seen myself grow in this process. Just one way. I've grown in a lot of ways. Like you said, the time between initiating a project and actually completing it has just shrunk. Like, and not incrementally, like it's shrunk a whole lot. I see myself being able to just execute in ways that I didn't. I moved out here in Vegas in 2021 with plans to expand my art career, to expand my personal art, and it wasn't happening. And I had everything. I had the money, I had the time, and I used to always complain, I don't have a space, and oh, I'm living with my grandma, I'm living with my partner. All that changed. I had a brand new apartment with as much living space as I probably ever had in my entire life. I had everything I thought I needed, and I didn't produce much in 2021 at all. So I realized then that it wasn't about all these excuses I made up in my mind. It was about something within me. Something within me is creating a block and a barrier to producing the art, and the projects that I want to be able to produce. So I've definitely grown, and that barrier barely exists. Like, the most it is now is thoughts in the back of my head, like, oh, I don't want to do this, like, which is just like, shut up, you know what I mean? And, or just not even shut up, just like me hearing, oh, I don't want to do this. Like, okay, I'm going to do it anyway. Like, I'm not going to let this stop me. Like, and I already know these thoughts don't mean shit because I thought I didn't want to do this when making this. So, what does that mean to me now, knowing that like I'll have that thought and make something great? Like, okay, it's just a thought then, which I didn't think before. I resonated too much with, I don't want to do this, this is uncomfortable, so I'm just not going to do it. um Thank you, Tamisha. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you so much. Love you. Amazing artist. Thank you so much for allowing me to participate in the branding of your art. And I'm so proud of you and everything you do. Just wanted to say that really quick and acknowledge you because I saw you joined, but I didn't want to detract away from the conversation. So thank you for being here. And I guess we can talk about how we've seen growth in each other just to hear it from a different perspective.
Oh yeah.
So I'll start and just talk about how I've seen growth in you. I
Let me
want
be
to
open to
piggyback.
receive.
What you say?
I said, let me get open to receive.
Yeah, be open to receive because you're about to receive. I'm gonna piggyback on the emotional growth, you being able to handle, and I feel like you've always been a good crisis person. You've always been great in crisis. You've always been able to, oh, this is happening. This is how we about to move. But I just notice in how you move emotionally and how you react to things, emotional triggers, external situations has definitely improved since doing this course, definitely improved since you've been journaling every day, and definitely improved since you've been more intentional with your meditative practice. Like you said before, I'm seeing you put more energy into your projects. Like, and you've been talking to me about your projects for years, your writing projects, all the kind of facilitating that you want to do, counseling you want to do, ideas that you have. But I've seen little action towards that, but a lot of action towards other people and dealing with them and managing them and kind of healing their crises and their triggers and traumas and their relationships with their children and the people in their lives, but it not really being applied towards yourself. So I see now that you are applying it towards yourself. Setting boundaries. I think you're so much better at setting boundaries now, which is something that you struggled with a lot in the past.
Ooh,
So to be
baby.
able to see you set boundaries even now with like, hey, my grandbabies are here, but I'm gonna set a few boundaries here and say, no, I have an artist date, so I can't watch, you know? And I think that's a really big thing for you because I struggle with that as well, setting boundaries and it's important because if you're filling yourself up, you have to be able to say no.
Yeah.
Um, Especially when you have as much energy as you do. All that energy is going to come with people who know Kelly can handle this. So they naturally come to you to be able to handle things. So you have to be able to say no sometimes to that, which I know you and me both deal with kind of like self-worth.
Yeah.
So saying no to someone coming to you is like, why are you going to say no when this is a chance to prove yourself? This is a chance to say that you're worthy, to show you're worthy, and you saying no kind of rid yourself of that opportunity to be worthy in that person's eyes. But it's like I got to be worthy in my own eyes, which means taking the time out for myself, which means setting boundaries and saying no.
Yeah.
So I've recognized you've been able to do that more, which I'm super proud of. And growth that I've recognized is, like you said, I'm piggybacking on this, the growth in our relationship, the growth in how we relate to each other, the growth in keeping yourself accountable, keeping me accountable, um, yeah, keeping others accountable as well. I think that that has definitely grown in you, and I'm really proud of you for that. Um, and yeah, that's what I've seen. I'm sure I'm missing something, but off the cuff, that's the growth that I've seen in you, and I'm exceptionally proud. And also,
Exceptionally
taking
proud.
taking an opportunity like you brought up Renaissance and you being able to take that opportunity to actually go to Renaissance to me is a growth that I've seen in you, being able to treat yourself basically, which I feel like was something that you kind of struggled with before, but now I feel like it's something that you're more open to, especially because it's tied in with the artist dates,
Yeah.
and your inner child, and making little Kelly appeased and happy and listening to her more instead of shutting her out. So
Woo, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Because I'm taking that in and receiving it all and listening. And I'm so grateful that you see me. There's nothing like being seen, nothing
yes,
like being understood, nothing like being heard. And baby, you see me, you hear me, you understand me. And I am so grateful and so blessed for that, and I don't have to look far in order to get that from you, and I never have to like request it or pull it from you. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And I just love you so much.
Love you
Um,
too. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank
yeah,
you. I love to be I love to be a part of this example because I feel like sometimes the mother-daughter relationship in how it's shown in fictional media or in non-fictional media or wherever or even in our lives it's sometimes not the most healthy representation. So to be able to have this relationship and also to be able to externally live it and have people be like, I love y'all. You know what I mean? I love seeing this. I love these conversations. I love how y'all treat each other. I love how y'all support each other. It feels really good to be able to serve as an example because it is healing. So thank you for acknowledging that. Thank you for being in here. Thank you, everyone who's still in here. We really appreciate you.
yeah.
And I'm gonna put the floor back onto you, Mom, so we can answer this last question.
So how I've seen you grow, like, okay, so you talked about your emo self and the highs and the lows and the highs and the lows, and you likened yourself to Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh, like, kind of melancholy. And I remember Miss J saying, oh, Khadijah just has a blue spirit. And I was like, well, she does. I was like, but that's not entirely her. That's a color that she can paint with and a color that she likes, but it's not her palette is not a palette of blues. That's not what it is. But it looked that way for a long time. Like, and even your sister recognized that. Oh, you just so down sometimes, and blah blah blah. So, and you, of course, you come out of that, but you were spending a lot of time in, you know, being low on the trampoline, being low energy, low frequency, and that has completely changed over this year. I no longer I no longer have concerns that you're in a bad place or that you're low or that you won't be able to see the light. Um, your Yeah, so you understand and you accept that there are highs and that there are lows and that this is a low period. So now I'm just gonna, I'm waiting and I'm waiting in anticipation for the high period. Before you would be like, yeah, ain't no high period, it's not coming. And,
Yeah.
I'm just fated
Yeah.
to be this way. And it's like, no, no, the fuck you weren't fated to be this way. So I've seen your growth in terms of, just knowing that fucking contrast exists. There's highs, there's lows. I'm going to experience the lows, but I get to also experience the highs as well. And I deserve the highs. I'm worthy of the highs. And wait a minute, hold up. I can even create some of my highs.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
so that is what that is like the biggest growth that I've seen for you, because I want more than anything else for you not only to be your best self, but for you to feel good about who the fuck you are and how you are being, what you are being. I want you to feel good, to actually be joy filled and to be happy. And so, like, over the course of this year, going through this course, I see that you see that that's possible for yourself. So before, you would have been like, oh yeah, yeah, that probability of that is kind of low, but now it's very, very, very high with you. Like, if that was the only thing, that would be worth it all for me. And I'm so grateful that it only cost us the low price of $20 to
Right.
get this book and for you to have that. And so I'm so grateful that we chose to go on this journey together and that we continued it after the 12 weeks were over, because that is just like something that I see with you. Okay, so the other things that I see, I think you had pigeonholed yourself into being, oh, well, I'm an artist, I'm a graphic artist, or I'm a fine artist, and da 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 da. And now I know that you are recognizing yourself as being an artist in its whole totality. Bitch, I do music. Bitch, I can design your website. Bitch, I can write. I'm writing some shit for that ass. So becoming an artist, in terms of your fashion, and even with the music, not just not just performing, so not just in front of the camera, but behind the scenes as well, the producing, the composing, composing your own beats, like all of that shit is just like fucking awesome to me, and to see you owning that. And that's just another thing. I'm just seeing you own who the fuck you are. You've been playing it small, playing like you're invisible, playing like you don't matter. Like, what? And I've been waiting for this day for you to see that, because I can only tell you so much. It's an inside job. And so, as much as a mother as I want to give you that gift and make you see it, I can't. It's something you have to do for yourself. And bitch, this year you have been doing it. So that's another area that I've seen that you've grown in. And of course, you've always had good energy when it comes down to dealing with other people. But now, baby, oh my gosh, just the way that you're able to take a situation and actually come into a room and bring people to your energy level and to how you want it to be, and with grace and with ease. I just love it. And so I've seen that. I've seen your energy increase. So, not so sluggish, not so, oh, I'm still in the bed, I'm still doing this, I'm still in that. Like, really having more of an abundance of energy. I don't know if you see that or feel that, but you've grown tremendously in just the energy. I mean, I can just tell. Um, and I always talk about shifting on a dime and being able to manage my thoughts and my emotions, but I've watched you grow into that. You are starting to shift in the fucking moment and shift on a dime and be like, you know what? Yeah, that
Yeah.
doesn't serve me. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. So, welcome to the welcome to the world of shifting.
Right.
Um, so I've seen you grow in that aspect, and just the acceptance of who you are. Just, we're both going on. You, of course, got me to be on my natural hair journey. You're about to lock your hair. I'm about to lock my hair, and that's as a result of you. And so just that freedom of being like, yes, I'm gonna get on a live with no fucking makeup on. I'm gonna get on a live and I'm gonna lock my hair, and I don't give a fuck. I'm going to wear the things that I want to wear, and I don't give a fuck. Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna put these devil horns in my fucking afro when I go to perform. I don't give a fuck.
Yes.
So, and
Absolutely.
and not, I've seen you come into yourself and not continue to overthink things and compare yourself. The comparison level, like, I could hear it. We would talk about something and I'd be like, oh shit, she about to compare herself to somebody else. Khadijah, don't compare yourself to anybody else. I don't think I've had to tell you, I have not had to tell you, oh, well, comparison is the
What
source of all
happens?
unhappiness.
Yep. That used to be the go-to, and yeah, I'm glad I've been hearing that since I'm young, but it definitely took some time to stick because, yeah,
well,
please continue.
well, this year you are sticking all of those landings. You're sticking it, sticking it, sticking it, sticking it. Again, you've always been a productive person to me, being able to get something done or whatever. And again, I see that you are like, it's like, oh, did you do your homework this week? Of course. Yes, I did this, 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 I did this. I'm like, oh, okay. So I've seen that grow and expand in you. Um, I'd probably have to think to hear some more,
You
but
listed a
that,
lot. You
yeah.
listed a lot.
So,
Yeah. And
so
thank you.
how do you receive those things, and do you feel like, yes, I've done all of, yes, I've
I
done all of
receive it
those things?
well. Moments where it's overwhelming, I've had to take a breath. I've had to take a couple big breaths a few times you've mentioned things because I'm like, ooh, it really hits me. But that's another thing I've grown in. I no longer reject compliments. I used to be a type of person, someone would compliment me and I'd be like,
Yeah.
no. Like, oh, you look so pretty. Like, but I don't have any makeup on, or like, oh, but my hair. It's like it's always something. Now I really truly receive the compliment. At first, I used to pretend. I was at a point where I was just pretending, where it's like, just say
Yeah.
thank you. Even if you don't believe, just be like, thank you, and leave it at that. You know what I mean? It was definitely like, fake it till you make it thing. But now I don't have to fake it. Now it's just truly like, thank you. And like, I really feel it in my heart. And now I find myself being like, you know what I mean? And I touch my heart when I do that. Like after a performance, people come up to me and they're like, yo, your music is dope. Like, oh, I've even had people be like, can we take pictures with you? Like the old me would probably just be so caught up in my own anxiety and like my own insecurities. Like, when you gonna take a picture of me, I'm gonna be stiff and pose weird, or act weird.
Right.
And now it's just like, no, I completely receive that. And even when it feels overwhelming, I'm being authentic and like, like, I'm overwhelmed, but it's excited. Instead of looking at it like, oh, I'm overwhelmed and it's a negative thing, like I'm overflowing.
Yeah.
Like instead of being I'm overwhelmed, I'm overflowing with appreciation and gratitude for these people recognizing me and seeing me in this way. So thank you for mentioning that, because I used to really struggle with compliments and receiving anything that was positive towards myself. And I just want to acknowledge our cousins if they're still in here. Thank you, ladies, for being in here. Our
Yeah.
family is beautiful. It absolutely fucking is. Like our entire extended family, we are some beautiful, beautiful people physically and in here. So I just want to throw that out there and acknowledge any family that's still here. Like, yes, we're that girl. We're about it. So I love that.